Hey guys, we didn't get time to go over the presentations today, so I wanted to go ahead and do that real quick. Your presentations are right here. There's a presentation sign up and a group presentation. Let me go over the instructions for the group presentation first. So here's what it says. All right. So this is due in 2 weeks. Your group task is to analyze an article that someone posted on one of your social media feeds that takes a very strong opinion on a controversial issue. You will put together an attractive and clear PowerPoint presentation that will analyze various things about the article. So again, you're choosing one article. It's got to have a strong opinion on a controversial issue, and it should come from your social media feed. All right, so somebody you know posted. You'll put together an attractive and clear PowerPoint presentation that will analyze various things about the article, and you will do this together. This is to say, let's see, there's seven of us. Yeah, I think everyone. For you guys, I think actually you'll do this individually. You're not gonna do it as a group because our class is small. Okay. Um, okay. So we don't have to worry about this part. You're not dividing different parts of analysis because you're each going to do this. You will have some time with your groups, or rather, I'm going to have you give you time, I guess, alone to work on your presentation together next week. But almost for sure, you'll have to do work out of class. Okay? Your presentation should do the following with regards to the article you've chosen. So, what kind of cognitive biases do you think most likely to impact the way people discuss this controversial issue and why? All right, so you're going back to your list of cognitive biases from day one, right? And you're not saying that that the people who wrote it are guilty of cognitive biases. You're thinking about the people who are discussing this kind of issue, right? And what they might have, right? What kind of cognitive biases might impact the issue. Remember to define each bias and state specifically why and how you think it's likely to occur in the debate. And I want you to find at least two of these, right? Remember, cognitive biases are a psychological event in your head, somebody's head. So you can never know for sure if someone is actually being influenced by cognitive biases. You're just thinking generally of the cognitive biases that might come into play from the ones that we discussed. Okay, so part two. Give examples of at least two rhetorical devices or psych fallacies. This is the stuff we're doing next week. Um, so again, you'll need to watch the video for that. And so you can never know for sure if someone else is being influenced by cognitive bias. You're just thinking generally, oh, sorry, I went back to that. Give two examples of at least two rhetorical devices or psych fallacies used either by the writer or by other people anywhere in the debate. Name the device or psych fallacy, define it, quote the example, and cite where you got the quote from. Okay, that should be pretty self-explanatory. And then number three, what is the writer doing to persuade the reader that is not logos, right? So again, this will make sense, better sense once we get to day five. Logos has to do with providing reasons. Pathos has to do with emotions, right? So how is the writer trying to emotionally influence the reader? That's pathos. And what is the writer trying to do to establish credibility with the reader? That's ethos. What's the writer doing to try to get you to trust what they're saying? Okay? All right, then number four, briefly describe the central argument the writer is making as you see it. Its conclusion should be whatever the writer is trying to convince you of. Okay, so this is the central argument of the entire article. Five, look for any unclear, vague, or ambiguous claims. Really, any unclear, even if you don't name them as vague or ambiguous. I just want to know whatever it is that you think is unclear, and explain what is unclear about them and what they could mean. Remember, you're looking for what's not clear, not what's weak about the argument at this point, right? So you're only focusing in this part on the clarity issue. Then number six, analyze the argument. What do you think is weak about this argument? So now we get into the weakness. Are one or more of its claims false? Or is it that the premises, if true, don't provide sufficient evidence for the conclusion? And what do you think would make the argument better? Okay, so try to be specific here. Finally, come up with a better version of the argument in standard form. Right? Simple or complex standard form, whatever works for you, whatever you think you need. Your version should include as much as possible what you said above would make the argument better. Right? So notice from two on, essentially, right? You're looking for, not actually from two on, sorry, from four on, right? You're looking at the argument, right? You're looking for any flaws that could be in the argument. And in seven, you're taking everything you've said about these flaws and now you're going to do it better. Okay, so that's the idea, right? Um, you should do it in standard form. So one, two, three, right? Whatever it is you're doing with the premises. And you should include any hidden premises you think are implied in the argument to make it clearer and more complete. Okay, so that's the assignment. There's a scoring and feedback sheet. This is what I'm going to use to grade you. You should take a look at that. You probably, before you present, want to make sure that you go through this and make sure everything is done here. And these are going to be presentations. So here you have the score sheet, and here are two samples for the presentations, right? So let's say sharks on Cape Cod, right, is one, right? So this was an article about, sharks on Cape Cod and how scared you should be. And you see there's a one on cognitive biases, on fundamental attribution error. So these are cognitive biases, this was anchoring bias and fundamental attribution error. And then the rhetorical devices, right? And then the psych devices. They did a lot. You don't need to do this many. You need, I think, two for two, I think, in total. And then some about the pathos, more about pathos, some about the ethos. And then finally, here's the argument that they said was the central argument. What's unclear about it? They didn't think anything was particularly unclear, but they did find some weaknesses with the argument. And here's how they improved the argument. This is what they came up with. Okay, so and the works cited should just be, here's the article that we're working on. So that's the idea. And here's another one. This one is about aliens. This is from last semester, right? So it comes from this this article, rhetorical devices or psych fallacies in it, cognitive biases that they had. Notice they just talked about it. They just put these up and then just talked about it. That's totally okay. I don't want you to spend your time reading everything from the PowerPoint. That is a bad presentation, right? So put on the things on a PowerPoint you need to. Make sure you don't overload it with too much text. Okay? And then pathos, ethos, etc. We can talk more about this stuff next week. Okay? But that is the idea. If you have any questions about it, presentation signups, I guess we're actually not going to need this. So since you guys are going to do this solo, you're going to do it alone, I don't need you to sign up for a group. I just need you to be ready to present. Your presentation, again, is going to be in 2 weeks. Okay? All right, that's it. Please email me if you have any questions.